Live. What is going on, everyone? Thank you all so very much for joining us today. Anyone that's coming in at this time, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Anybody that's watching this on the replay, we really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. What's going on, Jake? All
right. Good. Sad. My Chargers lost. And
Chargers, I know.
1 point.
Epic collapse. Epic collapse. Up 27-0, and you blow it. How do you do that? Bunch of bums.
That's why I hope the Jaguars go down in burning flames. No, I'm just kidding. I actually, I always do. Like any team that beats like my team that I'm rooting for in the playoffs or whatever, I always root for them to win. That's why, like when the Suns didn't win those freaking when the Suns beat us in the playoffs 2 years ago, and they didn't go on to win, I was like, how could you? Like
you
guys
I agree. Like I always do that too. Like I feel like that. Like if the Lakers are lose to whomever, lose to the Suns. Like I want them to win the championship because at least you could say, hey, we lost to the team that won.
Right?
No shame in that. But when you lose, when you lose to a team that you should beat. But I mean, it's not even that. It's just how much they were up. You're up 27-0. Like now you basically didn't have to do anything the entire second half except for not blow it, and they found a way to blow it. But credit the Jaguars. Good for them. Trevor Lawrence.
Good for them. Nothing.
Sunshine. He's the truth. But what's going on, Gary? Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Yes, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We need the boy on Bergstrom. I'm with you. Hey guys, hopefully Lakers win tonight. I agree. I hope so too. Thank you, all things basketball. But diving right into it. Diving into first conversation. Obviously, we're playing Houston today. We had a tough loss against the Sixers, which that's never good, right? That was a game that we should have won. But twice now, back-to-back games, we got screwed by the refs. Now, the refs say that the Russ foul was not a foul, that it was that he quickly hit it and then pulled his hand away. But there's even images on Twitter. He grabs his wrist. He didn't it wasn't like he was inadvertent.
Yeah.
Like he's just running, came down, hit his hand or something. No, he literally grabs his wrist. There are stills all over the internet right now showing that he grabbed his wrist, and yet no call. We've talked about the refs in general, but this is just, it's crazy. And look, you don't lose a game solely on just one bad call, right? It's several things. But
when you see that I agree with you. But when you fight and when you make some like corrections on mistakes that you made early on in the game, but then when you get that close and then a call is made like that, it's not the ref's fault that you lost the game, but it's like, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's so my thing is like I said, is that I get, it's not solely on the refs for why the Lakers lose the game. But and I understand that the refs, they don't want to be the decision makers, right? They don't want to decide the outcome of the game. But when something is so blatant, something is so you still have to do your job. And you have a job which is to call and be the facilitator of, the game. And so if you're going to do that and you're going to be a ref, you have to make those calls, even if you don't want to make those calls. We had the last 2-minute report in the Dallas game, and we had 7 missed calls. I mean, even the commentator in last night's game brought it up and was like, if they had 7 missed calls for the Lakers in the last 2 minutes, imagine how many they had throughout the entirety of the game, which is true. Crazy. If you can't tell me that the only missed calls that they had were, 2 minutes into the game. And that was the thing in general. Like the refs have been so bad this year. And the problem is when you have two good teams playing against each other, you're going to have more times than not games come down to a possession or a foul or a turnover, whatever. Even bad teams, even the worst teams in the league sometimes, will be competitive against the best teams in the league. Yeah. It's just there's these things, but like LeBron can't get a whistle to save his life. Not even, and I'm not even talking about like the superstar whistle. I'm not talking about the Kobe or Jordan whistle. I'm talking about like just a fair whistle. Like they're treating him like he's AI out there, right? It's like it's insane.
But I'm not saying that it's justified. But throughout the first half of his career, like he got those calls all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like I know it's weird. So it's like why not get them now? But it's like it's a seesaw effect. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's what I'm noticing. It's like towards the later half of his career. I don't know if you noticed, but calls that he would normally get, he doesn't get. And I'm just like,
Yeah, you got to have consistency, is my thing.
well, yeah, that's what I might think. It's just a little weird. Like, what
Yeah,
has changed between now and then that
he's
you
old.
know? I mean,
That's what it is.
I guess they're like,
He's not the new face
yeah,
anymore.
it's like you're not the face of. Well, we're not going to give you these calls anymore.
Yeah,
Versus
you
where
know,
like Giannis is getting like all of the calls. Like,
and I mean, look at like Embiid last night. He either made the basket or they called a foul. Same thing with James Harden. He either makes the basket or they call a foul. Like, it's just it was rough.
which James is another one. Like, I just some of the like the kind of calls that James gets is like, I'm
dude,
like,
they call like everything for James Harden, right? And like I understand like he's
he could
crafty.
Euro step, not touch anybody, and he gets a foul, and I'm just like, wait, what?
I mean, I can't really knock James Harden too much because he exploited the rules, right? Like there's rules in place. He just found the loophole, right? To where refs have to call. So like, credit him for doing that. I mean, but that's also why in the playoffs he's usually a no-show because they stop calling those little tic-tac fouls and stuff during the playoffs. So like all the stuff that he's used to getting all season long, when you get to the playoffs, that well dries up. So now you actually got to play, and he has some games where he's still able to put up 40 or whatever, but there's also games where he'll put up like 12 in the playoffs because he can't. Did he miss another one?
You
But
know, it's
yeah,
funny too because it's like it's just like how Steph is like really good at like making 3 pointers. James
yeah,
Harden has mastered the art of like drawing fouls. Like,
he is. He's very skilled in that department. But hopefully, hopefully something picks up as far as like free agency or trade wise. So transitioning into that is so Sterling Brown's contract has officially um, expired, right? So that means the Lakers can now bring in some new 10-day contracts. They worked out DeMarcus Cousins and they worked out Myers Leonard. We didn't get really an update outside of Darvin Ham basically said that they had a really good workout. We have bigger priorities right now, which is, we need to get healthy first. And we'll see if, it's basically that it's not up to me to bring them in, but we'll see if they bring them in. But they had a good workout. To me, it sounded like Darvin Ham was basically saying, like, yeah, they sucked. Like they had a good workout, but not good enough. So
yeah,
we're not bringing them in. I still prefer Hassan Whiteside. I think if it came down to Myers Leonard or DeMarcus Cousins, I personally would rather them go DeMarcus Cousins. Um, I just think DeMarcus Cousins is better, even now, even at this stage in Cousins' career. I just think he's better.
yeah.
But we clearly the Lakers are in the market for a sizable center, um, and maybe the Lakers end up signing one of those centers. But we got a report that the Lakers are talking to the Detroit Pistons about a Bojan Bogdanovic and a Nerlens Noel deal. So basically, because they want an unprotected first, the Lakers don't want to give up an unprotected first. They want to give up a protected first.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the Lakers are trying to justify giving up an unprotected first. We don't want to give up an unprotected first for Bojan. Uh, we want another player. And it sounds like Detroit's like, well, we'll give you Nerlens Noel because they're not playing him. They don't really need him. It's kind of the odd man out, expiring contract. Like, they're not going to get any value for him. So, whatever. Sure, if you want that add-on. What are your thoughts? Like, would you be okay if they got Bojan Bogdanovic and Nerlens Noel, another center? Because me personally, I would rather them try to get Alec Burke because then you could sign because you have free agents that are centers. You have free agents that are big men, right? And then on top of that, you may end up having some more come the buyout market, right? Because teams are probably going to unload some guys, and you might be able to find like that diamond in the rough. But even if not, you got Hassan Whiteside, Myers Leonard, DeMarcus Cousins. You have free options there. What you don't have free is 43% 3-point shooters and Alec Burke, who can be a 3 and D guy. Good size, 6'6", can play
Yeah.
the 3, can play the 4, shooting 42, almost 43% from 3. What are your thoughts in general? Would you want him to do the trade for a big, get Alec Burke, sign a big? Which big would you want?
Uh, no for Alec Burke, and here's why. Because as much as like we all know, any true Laker fan knows, especially with this team, we play better when we're what like running. Like so, we just play better when we're running. I feel like the smaller guards can like exploit that on some of the like the better teams, and I just feel like if we go big, we're gonna lose some of the speed and lose some of the I guess the quickness. Because I'm not saying that every big is slow, but I'm just like I just what's gonna happen. I think we're gonna go more big. We're gonna like become a bigger team, and then we're just gonna lose, that up and down, fast pace. We're gonna lose all of our, our ability to, go small and like, play the small ball, which I don't necessarily want to play a small ball completely, but I think it would,
So you
yeah,
want to keep AD at the 5, basically.
yes, yeah, yeah. I did it. I didn't want to because I wanted to bring Turner in, which I still wouldn't mind Turner, but again, it's just I don't think we need to like keep loading up on centers, keep loading up on big men. No, I keep AD at the 5. There's nothing wrong with a 6'6", 6'7" guard. We don't need to go get 3 7-footers. You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah,
yeah, no, for sure. I want to see Cousins. How tall is Cousins? What is Cousins like?
he's like 6'11", something like
Yeah, so like
that.
I know no I want to see Cousins. I think Cousins is probably the best option. My only thing is we haven't got any report or that I've heard of like where his injury status is at, like how is he healthy, is he fully ready to go? But because last time we've seen him, he has like trouble staying on the court. You know what I mean? But I want to see Cousins out of all the big men that we have available right now, or we have an option to go get. I would like us to see to us for sorry for us to sign Cousins to a 10 day. I think that would be good.
Yeah, I do like. I don't think we need another center. And if you want it, like I said, you go the free option. Like I would just rather, I would rather them give up, an unprotected first in 2 seconds, give up Chicago's 2023 and the Lakers 2023, and go get Alec Burke and Boyan Bogdanovic, right? Because now you've got, I said, Alec Burke 6'6", he's shooting 43% from 3, a real sizable shooting guard, right? Rather than Patrick Beverly, who's 6 foot. Now you
Yeah,
have like actual size and shooting, and then you get a guy in Boyan Bogdanovic who can shoot the 3 ball as well. Who again got good size. He could play the 4. So now you could have a starting 5, literally, of you could go Dennis Schroeder, Alec Burke, Boyan Bogdanovic, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Right? Like there you go. There's your 5. Or if you do want to go like the center route, if you're the Lakers, then you could go, like I said, you could go Dennis Schroeder, Alec Burke, LeBron, and AD and Bryant. Right? But ideally, I think you have AD at the 5. You have Dennis Schroeder, who can be that slasher. He's shooting the 3 ball pretty decent this season. You got Alec Burke, who's shooting 43%. You got we got Boyan, who's shooting whatever, or you know have uh have LeBron run the point and Dennis Schroeder kind of play shooting guard more, and then you could kind of go that route. Play Boyan at the 4, Burke at the 5, give you some shooting. I mean, it gives you flexibility.
yeah,
I would rather them go and look at, let's go try to get the shooting route, like you say, because we're best running, right? And it's nice to have like Winion and Thomas Bryant, who are bigs that run the floor. And don't get me wrong, Nerlens Noel can do the same thing. Like he's a big that can run, and he stretches the floor a little bit. I wouldn't be mad if we got Nerlens Noel. I just think another center is the least of our concerns, right? Like I just think shooting and guys on the perimeter are our biggest needs right now.
yeah,
Like going and getting another center, like maybe temporarily until AD comes back. That's fine, but you're not going to go trade Nerlens Noel to just have him sit and like no, it just makes no sense. Get go and get the guys you need, and then figure it out from there. That would be my ideal scenario. But kind of pivot is the since you brought it up earlier too, there were some reports about the Indiana Pacers, um, that a potential Pacers deal. I even made a video about it recently, like I don't know, 2 hours ago, hour ago now. But basically, Tyrese Halliburton, who is like the entire engine for that team, he got hurt. He's injured,
Yeah.
and he's going to miss some time. Indiana's on a 4-game losing streak. Well, they were at the time of the report, they were on a 2-game losing streak, but now they lost the other day and they lost today. So they're on a
And they're
4-game
already
losing
bad
streak.
as it is this year. So
Yeah. So now there's talks. Miles Turner didn't sign the contract extension. They're looking to try to trade for John Collins, and it's just looking like it might be a good time for the Pacers to trade Miles Turner. So of course that brings up the question for the Lakers. Um,
and he
I,
wants to be in LA so bad.
I think it is too. I mean, he's given little clues, but
Yeah.
here's my thing. If I'm the Lakers, though, there's no you can't do it for 2 firsts. You just can't. Like because Buddy Hield and Miles Turner would be fine, but they're not going to solve all your problems, right? Like they're not like we have a lot of holes. Miles Turner doesn't really solve one of those holes outside of like 80 playing at the 4 now, but he's not a great rebounder for his career. He's injury prone. He wants $30 million. Um, Buddy Hield is great and can shoot the ball, but he's a defensive liability, and we need more than just one sharpshooter. So if they cost 2 firsts still, then no, it's not worth it. In the offseason, it made sense, right? Because
Yeah.
no one knew that Russell Westbrook would be this Russell Westbrook. So at the time for the Lakers, they just wanted to get rid of Russell Westbrook. And they were willing to do that trade. And then Jeannie Buss ended up saying, no, let's see what Russ can do and let's see what we got, which in hindsight, I think was the right choice. And so with that, it's like now Russ is playing so good, he's no longer a negative value for the Lakers. So now there's no incentive for the Lakers to give up both firsts in that deal. You're going to lose Miles Turner for nothing. Yes, maybe some other teams will give you a first round pick, but you're going to have to take on long-term salary. That doesn't make any sense for you. Like what teams have 20 million in expiring cap? Nobody. And you move off of Buddy Hield in the process, which means now Mathurin can now come in and be your starting shooting guard like he should be. And you can kind of start this movement with the youth and all that stuff and try to go build this team that you're putting together. Right. And then for the Lakers, like, you get at that point, you get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. So if you could do that for 1 first, then that's perfect. Just Russ 1 first. And if you have to give up a second or whatever, a pick swap or something, just not both unprotected first. So if you could do that, now you get Miles Turner, now you get Buddy Hield, and now you have that other first. You still have Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, and Lonnie Walker. Well, now you could package those, that unprotected first and whatever else, and maybe you could go get Alec Burke and Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, if you could get Alec Burke, Buddy Hield, Bojan, and Miles Turner, which isn't impossible if Indiana would lower their price to 1 first. So if they lower their price to 1 first, you could get all 4. Now you're probably the best team in the league at that point if everyone's healthy, right? Because now you got 3 shooters, 3 dead-eye shooters, and Bojan, Buddy, and Alec Burke. You got size now and Burke and Bojan. Like, it just – that makes more sense. I think if you're the Lakers, there's no way you're giving up both first for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. And if you trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, you need to do another move anyway because it's not going to be enough. So if you can give up 1 first, get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, and then maybe go do another move, or even if it's not Bojan and Alec Burke, let's say it's the Spurs trade or something, right? And teams might be more willing also because the Lakers only would have 1 first at that point. So, teams aren't going to ask for the farm because the Lakers no longer have that farm. So you might be able to get more reasonable trades.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts?
And not to mention too, like right now, since especially with the way that their season's going, like you mentioned two first, I mean, can you really still ask for two first? I don't really think you can, just because
I don't think you can.
the way your season's going, yeah, Buddy Hill's still playing decent, but I don't really like you can't like take his performance, give us two first. You know what I mean? It's just because right now, if you're the Pacers, you need to just clear shit. Like you got to do
Yeah,
something, right? So like you're trying to offload, get Russell, do what you need to do. So I don't really think like you can't really like we can call their bluff at this point. You know what I mean? Like I don't really think like they need to set it up there and ask for two first. Now from one first, make the trade. I think so. Make the trade at this point. You know what I mean? Um, my only issue with the trade now is that like I don't this late in the season. If we were gonna do it, I kind of just I kind of have preferred it to be like earlier in the season. You know what I mean? It's just it's a weird point in the season. Um, and I have a weird like issue with like it's funny because like Jeannie Buss claimed like she didn't want to make the trade because she was kind of focusing on like long term versus short term. But I think if you would have made the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner trade, it would have been like kind of both either way. So I don't really, I don't really understand what her mind was on that. Um, but yeah, we need to make two trades, possibly even three. But I don't know. Maybe we just start with the Pacers trade, see where it goes. I
my, my
just it's been lingering for so long. I just like I want to try it out. As much as I don't want to get rid of Russell Westbrook, I don't, but I want to see what it looks like.
yeah. I
Like
mean, it would also be a long term move, which is why I don't, which is why I kind of want the Lakers to make some sort of deals, because like $30 million in cap space is nothing. You're going to sign, like, let's say, and in the offseason, what? You're going to go sign Miles Turner. And so you're going to end up having to overpay him anyway. The only difference is you don't have his bird rights. So now you basically sign Miles Turner. There's all your cap space. Where now, if you could trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, unless you really do plan on keeping Russ long term, but how much money is Russ going to want? Is he going to be willing to come off the bench? Like, does Russ even want to be with the Lakers after all that has happened, right? Like, I'm sure, he's happy, he's, embraced his role and everything like that. But if any team offers him a starting role, which I do think there are teams that would do that, I think he's gone. I think he's on the first flight out of LA.
we're gonna
Um,
see as soon as the season ends. We're gonna see.
yeah,
I promise. As soon as the season ends, we're gonna see exactly where his mind's at. Like that's Russ for you. Like he's
yeah.
gonna start making
I
moves.
just
Like
I don't like that doesn't mean trade Russ just to trade Russ, right? I mean, you don't just trade Russ, just trade Russ. Luol Deng, Timothy Mozgov is a great example of like why you don't just get players just to get players and say we got somebody. So, but if a deal is there that makes sense for now and the future, then fine. Because it's like we've talked about before, like let's say you did do the Pacers and you did like the let's say the Hornets deal or the or some variation of the Hornets deal, or you did the Detroit deal or whatever, right? Like, yes, there is concerns about chemistry. How will it fit? How will it work? If it works right away, great, then it's good, and now you're off to races and you have a real chance of winning a championship. If it doesn't work, well, at least you have those pieces now for the next several seasons, and now you have a full off season, a full training camp, and a full preseason to get everybody on the same page, getting everybody together, and now you have this team that can contend for the next 2, 3, 4 years, right, or however long LeBron or whatever, right? That's what I'd rather them have, because this whole idea of like, oh, we got a bunch of cap space, let's preserve the cap space, let's not trade the picks, let's not do whatever, like let's not do this, that, and the other. It just doesn't make sense, because you're going to sign one guy and then there's all your money,
yeah,
right? Like you're not going to be able to fill out a 10-man roster on $30 million. You're just not. And what I mean by 10 minutes, because they have LeBron James, Anthony
yeah,
Davis,
yeah.
you know. So yeah, so you're just not going to be able to fill out the rest of your roster with $30 million. It's just not going to happen. Yes, you would have the taxpayer mid-level. Yes, you'd have the biannual, but that's not. You get a couple. You get maybe at best case a guy like Lonnie Walker, right? Like you're not getting some needle mover. You're not going to get 2 or 3 pieces that are going to come in and really change the landscape of this Lakers team. So if you can find a trade that makes sense then do it, because that trade is going to be your team for the next several seasons rather than just, just this season. So
Yeah.
I just think it depends on what's out there, and then obviously we're going off of reports, we're going off of like speculation, right? We don't know for sure. None of us are in the front office with Rob here in the conversation. Teams aren't in a rush to make trades right now. We're
Yeah.
still a month, a little less than a month from the trade deadline, which is February 9th. So you still have a long time, for teams to kind of figure out what do they want to do, where do they want to land. Does a team like the Pacers want to make a trade for Russ? Does a team like the Lakers want to make a trade for AD?
You there?
Let's just call it quits. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's dive into the chat a little bit.
Lost you for a second there. Just for it was like it glitched and like I heard nothing for like 20
Oh, really?
seconds. And yeah, it was weird. It was super weird. I think we're
StreamYard's
back
been
though.
StreamYard's been acting weird today too. I was in another live stream earlier today. I was in the collective stream earlier, and the guy who was hosting it, he was like, it kept spazzing out too. Um, all right, we already got that one. What was this one? That Troy Brown Jr. foul haunts me in my sleep. Seriously, that was that was rough for sure. Two missed calls in two different games, late game too. The Lakers never get those types of game calls. We really don't. You really don't. Like I said, I mean, I understand they don't want to decide the game, but like when there's just clear, blatant calls for that like that, you got to do it. That Russ no call for is an angle thing. I think it's possible the refs don't have a good angle to see that foul, but the TBJ situation was very obvious. It should have been called. Yeah, the TBJ thing definitely. Maybe you could say the LeBron and Russ angles. Yeah, I can understand, but that's kind of like what I was talking about in the video that I posted earlier today. Is like they need to find a solution. Like they need to find a way to kind of get everything working right. So I don't know. It's frustrating to say the least. Players should be allowed to land properly after taking a shot, and they're supposed to. That's why like you get a flagrant for landing in the shooter space.
Yeah.
They changed that rule. They're just not enforcing it like they should. Embiid is the ref's prodigy. Anytime he misses, he gets the whistle. Seriously, I don't care if that the refs want to play, but call it for everyone, not just your favorite SG and Joel. No, seriously, it's what it seems like. It really does. It's infuriating. Yeah, currently, like if they want both unprotected first, yeah, it's way too much. If you can do it for an unprotected, like say one unprotected first and like a pick swap, or one unprotected first and some, a couple seconds or whatever, or if they want Lonnie Walker, give them Lonnie Walker, whatever they want. As long as you don't have to give up both first, then I think it's worth it. If TB is starting with AD, we got to get another center for garbage time when AD isn't in. Well, that makes I understand that if they do that. I just would rather them not trade for one. I'd rather you go get Alec Burke, and then if you want a center to come in and play, 10 minutes a game, go get a DeMarcus Cousins, go get a Hassan Whiteside, go get a Myers Leonard, because you're only asking them to be in to just give AD and Thomas Bryant, 10 minutes of rest, right? Like that's what.
Well, if that's the case, and that's what you're going to sign for, yeah, you can't put Turner in that spot, like you said. You can't.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Turner is a play most of the game type person. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you got to start him start to finish. When AD returns, in my opinion, it's best for TB to come off the bench to ensure continuity of offense and stars are resting. I prefer AD at the 5. I think come playoff time they probably do that. I think for the regular season though, I think they'll bring Thomas Bryant and AD together. I think they'll have them start together. Personally, it's like the entire NBA has gone. Indiana needs to make a trade, and they don't care. Like a lot of them, they rather hold good players for nothing, like Houston, and not give vets opportunities. Yeah, and I mean, but that's the thing too. Is like you're seeing a lot of teams, which I do think these teams fold sooner or later. I really do. But you're seeing a lot of teams holding on to these guys until the final hour, and they're going to lose. I mean, Toronto, right? They're probably losing like half of their team in the offseason, which might not be the worst thing in the world, but why wouldn't you want to get something for them? Same thing with the Spurs, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to get something for Josh Richardson, and Jakob Pertl, right? I mean, and not even I'm not even talking about like trading them to Lakers. I'm talking about in general, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a team, if a team's willing to trade, like get something for them, because the Lakers aren't going to be able to get all these players. But so like let's say the Spurs do a deal with somebody else and get some pieces. Okay, fine. Like the Lakers can squeeze into one of those deals, right? It's just like there's so many options on the table right now. We only need the Lakers to squeeze into one, maybe two of those deals, and we're money, So, but you see all these teams that are just like holding on to these guys for dear life, which I understand you're trying to drive up the price, but the price isn't changing. Like there's not many teams that have tradable things that make sense. Like Miami's trying to be a buyer and they're trying to get pieces, but they don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like the Nets are trying to do the same thing. They don't have anything. Like what teams want to take on Joe Harris's, 40 million over the next 2 years? Like nobody. So that's the difference. But he's top 3-point shooter in the league. I'd really just rather see us get Buddy and a Boyan package. I'm with you. I'd rather see them just go get just go trade for Buddy.
Hey, that's one we haven't heard before. I like that, Buddy and Bo. Yeah,
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 go do them in separate deals.
yeah.
Buddy Hield, yeah. I don't know about Evan Fournier, but is starting for the Knicks now. All of a sudden, like the guy, yeah. Well, that's because they're. Yeah, I was just gonna say they're probably trying to boost up his value because he's been atrocious for them. Fans want to see good vets compete in the playoffs and not be stuck rebuilding teams. Another reason why I respect LeBron James so much. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense. That's why you go all in now when you have a very good bench. Next season, you get one player, and now you have no depth. The bench is actually obvious sabotage unless trade. Yeah, and that's my point. Is that like you're just not going to be able. There's no way you're going to be able to get the pieces you need in the offseason to actually put together a viable contender, right? Like you're just not. So, and if Russ leaves, well, then now you're in big, big trouble because now you don't even have that third star. So now you got, like let's say you sign Gary Trent, who's 23. Like, is Gary Trent, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis enough to win a championship? Nope. Right? Like, it's just not. Like, so especially with AD's injury history and then LeBron James another year older. If the right deal emerges that will make them, in their eyes, a better team overall the next 3 years, that's their priority. You talk about the Lakers thing, the Dave McMahon thing. But if that means not making a deal in February, playing out the rest of the season with this group that they have, knowing that they're going to be better deals in July, they'll do that. But that's the problem that doesn't – like I remember this report. I saw this report too. And I've had other people mention like, oh, don't worry about it. You could do stuff in like July or anything. What are you going to be able to do? You don't have any – like you're not – unless you're trading LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you don't have any tradable contracts after that. You don't have
unless they are, and we just unbeknownst to us.
Who's going to sign and trade Russell Westbrook? Because if any team's going to sign and trade for Russell Westbrook, one, they're going to be hard capped. Two, that means they're going to have to pay it. Like if you're the Nets, right? Like, why would you want to sign? Like, let's say Kyrie wants to leave. Like, why would you take Russell Westbrook long term? Right? Because either Kevin Durant is either leaving or he's staying, and then you're trying to build whatever you can. Unless Kevin Durant's like, oh, I think I can win with Russell Westbrook with the team we have, right? Like if that's the case, then fine. But like the whole July over,
yeah,
you don't have anything to trade, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no move. Like you have cap space, but how are you going to make it work? Like that's what I'm saying. Like they don't have any tradable. All their guys are free agents except for Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Max Christie, and Damian Jones, unless they unload him or unless they get lucky and he opts out. There's no way you can do a trade in the offseason. And I've seen and it's not even Dave McMahon. I've seen several reports where they're like, well, the Lakers feel confident that they can get something done in July or in the offseason, whatever. I'm like, how? They don't have – are they trading LeBron and AD? Like, is that their plan? Like, if they can't get anything by the trade deadline, then they're just going to blow it up? If that's the case, then fine. But if you're trying to build a contender around LeBron James and Anthony Davis, then there's no way for you to do a deal. No team is going to hard cap themselves for Russell Westbrook and to overpay Russell Westbrook. They're not going to do it. Sorry, I need to get that out. That's just foolish. That's basically saying goodbye to another chip probably for the next 10 plus years. Exactly, because what's going to happen is
Wait. What is trading LeBron and AD or trading?
no,
What are we
he's
talking about?
saying in general. He's talking about like my rant where
Like
no, I was
waiting
saying
until July?
you're not going to have any salary space to do any trade to do any deal. If they don't
Oh
do
yeah,
anything by the February trade deadline, then that's it. Like the Lakers aren't winning a championship with LeBron James and Anthony Davis again. Unless something crazy happens. You know what I mean? Unless some, whatever. Kyrie just says, hey, I'll take that 30 million. I'm coming. Which maybe that happens, but we have no way of knowing that for sure. Right? Like, and is he willing to take that discount? Right? Like, is he willing because he could get like 42 million a year or something like that?
yeah.
Like, is he really willing to take like 10 plus million discount to go play with the Lakers? Maybe. Maybe he looks at it as like I can get brand deals, I can get, promotions, like maybe LeBron can help me get a new shoe deal, whatever. Like, so maybe there's something that you could work out that makes sense. But in reality, you're not like, even if Kyrie comes, you got Kyrie, LeBron, and AD. Like, yes, that is extremely talented, but what players are you going to get beyond that? You got to still put a
Yeah.
roster around them. Still got to have players around them. You still know Anthony Davis is probably only going to play 50 games. Like LeBron James is only getting older. Kyrie, as much as I love Kyrie, does he say something stupid again? And now he's, and like, it doesn't make any sense. If the Lakers don't make a move by like the trade deadline, I don't think any of these getting done. I think that's it. At that point, you might as well just blow it up.
Question:
Like,
Well, yeah. Do you think that's what they're planning on? I mean,
it might be a possibility. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be shocked if, like, let's say they don't make a trade, which knock on wood, hopefully they do. But let's say they don't make a trade, right? And then they go into the offseason. I think they see if Kyrie comes, right? And if Kyrie doesn't come, I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron says, get me out of here. Right? So, like, let's say we get into the offseason.
yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of speculation of like what's going to happen. I think if Kyrie signs an extension with the Brooklyn Nets in the offseason or he goes to another team, I think LeBron immediately asks for a trade and says trade. Because he's not stupid. He's going to know, like, I'm not going to be able to win. I'm not going to be able to win anything here. I'm going to be a play-in team for the rest of my career. Like, at that point, you might as well. My problem is with doing that is you're not going to get fair value for AD, and I don't know who's going to trade for LeBron James. Like, that at least a trade that makes sense for
I don't
Lakers.
think I'm telling you, I think he finishes out his career in LA. Like it just makes sense for him. Like I think as like a businessman, as like a family man, like because you got to think like his kids, they're already starting their legacy, like in high school and everything, and they've already cemented themselves to pick
Yeah,
up
but
all that and move.
his oldest son graduates this year, and then his other son, yeah, he could come around. He is so rich, he could just go buy a private jet and be in L. You know what I mean? Like he could. It's not hard. I mean, he has so much money. Like he could be playing on the other side of the world, and just after the game, jump on his plane and just have dinner and make it home in time for dinner in LA. You know what I mean? Like, look, and I've said the same thing. I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, I've said the exact same thing. I don't see LeBron going anywhere because I don't think he has options, and I think he wants to stay in LA. I mean, LeBron didn't go to the Lakers for basketball reasons. He went so he could build an empire. I mean, even Magic Johnson recently basically said the same thing, right? That, like, he told him, like, here, I'll do my best to have you win, but this is a place. He's like, I sold him on the idea of him becoming a billionaire. Right. And like making all this money and establishing your business and getting into Silicon Valley and all that stuff. And that's exactly what happened. Like LeBron didn't come here for basketball. There were other teams he could have went to and probably have won 2 or 3 championships by now. But he wanted to go to LA. His family wanted to go to LA. He wanted his kids in LA. Like it was everything. It was almost, you can make an argument it was everything but basketball. Right. So like,
I think we see him retire before he requests a trade, honestly.
Yeah. He's not going to retire anytime soon. He's probably got a couple more years. But like, and he's only got, I mean, worst case scenario, he has 1 more year. So he rides it out next year and then just leaves. And then that's even worse. Right. Cause he doesn't have to opt into that second year. So like, let's say we don't do anything. Like maybe he doesn't request a trade and he just rides out that final season and then he just leaves and you get nothing, right? Like that could happen too. And now you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Like and now you're stuck with just like AD and a bunch of nothing, right? Like so I don't know. It not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't know. I still really believe the Lakers are going to do a trade. I really do. I think because there's no way the Lakers. There's no way I'm smarter than the guys that are doing these decisions in the NBA. There's just no way. I don't do. I don't. I'm not Rob Palinka and the front office and these guys that like their entire lives are just centered around just this, right? Like I'm just some guy on the internet just talking. There's no way that I see that there's no way that they're going to be able to build a real team next season, and they don't. So they have
Yeah.
to know that. And it kind of goes into that Dave McMillan report where it's like if they see something that they like for the next 3 years, they'll take it. Like that. See, like this way, if the deal emerges that will make them in their eyes a better team over the next 3 years, that's the priority. Yeah, I mean, if they get pieces that last the next several seasons, then they'll do that. But yes, NBA championships are very hard to come by. I mean, there's
That's
still
true.
teams. There's still teams in this league that have never even been to a finals. Like, think of how many good Phoenix Suns teams there's been over the years, and they've never won a final. They've never won a championship.
Crazy.
Yeah, the Memphis Grizzlies have only been to one Western Conference Finals. One. And it was with the grit and grind Grizzlies in 2011 or whatever. Like think of how many like good Grizzlies teams. Um, what's going on, Matt? I appreciate you being. We appreciate you being here. How are you? How are you? Yes, Lakers game tonight is a must-win. Facts. Imagine Kyrie, AD, and LeBron together. I think that would be fantastic, but you still got to put a team around them, right? Like I think if you could get Kyrie, LeBron, and AD, you're good enough to win a championship. But you still need another. You need big, you need size, you need wings, you need defense because like that team,
Yeah.
AD's gonna miss 50 games. LeBron's probably gonna miss a bunch of games. Kyrie's probably gonna miss a bunch of
When
games.
you said 80's gonna miss 50 games, you mean play 50 games? Sorry. You
Yeah,
sorry. So I was about to say I don't know if 80's missing 50 games.
I
He
hope
is. He
not.
needs to. Yeah. He needs to
Yeah.
retire.
Think of how bad we would be if Schroeder had not chosen LA. Yeah, I mean, and just in general, I mean, we wouldn't be the
Well,
same.
without Schroeder and Bryant, we would be in a really bad
Oh
position
yeah,
right
we'd
now.
be terrible. We'd probably be one of the worst teams in the league. The only team I see making a trade for LeBron is Warriors or Nets. Golden State has a lot of young guys, and Brooklyn has Simmons, a few firsts, and some shooters. Yeah, I mean, like my problem is I don't think the Warriors would ever do it. I don't. I don't think Steph would want like LeBron there.
Yeah.
Like that's his team. I don't think LeBron would be able to coexist because LeBron has always been the guy. Like he would have to take a huge backseat, and I just don't see him doing that. I think he would say he would do that. The Lakers have tried to get Dennis Schroeder and go get Russell Westbrook and all these guys because
Yeah.
LeBron kept saying he wants to take a back seat. And guess what? He hasn't. I mean, even with AD, it's been part of that. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Uh, LeBron loves this game, but I most say the people around him have good business sense. I mean, it's LeBron who has a good. LeBron's built everybody. All of his friends are successful because of LeBron. Like Clutch started because of LeBron. Like everything, all is because of LeBron James. LeBron, I'm not saying LeBron doesn't love the game. There's no way I don't say that. But he didn't go to LA for the love of the game. There were other teams and better teams that he could have went to and probably won multiple championships. Magic Johnson basically said as much. He basically said I sold him on him becoming a billionaire and being able to run all his businesses and corporations. He didn't sell him on basketball. He sold him on. He's Magic Johnson said, "I know. Like before I get into these meetings, I know what all these teams want or all these players want. I already know what they're looking for and what they ultimately want. He's like, and that's what I sell them on. So he's like, so he knew what they wanted and was trying to sell them on it, and they did. So that's the whole thing. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, we still have 3.5 weeks or whatever. We have just shy of a month um, before we get the trade deadline, and it's gonna be rather interesting.
Yes, it is. Yes,
But
it is.
last like sort of parting words or anything before we get out of here, so that way we can let people go enjoy the game. I can enjoy the game, get ready for the post game stream. What do you think?
We need this win. We need this win. That's all I gotta say. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta say. We need this win.
desperately,
One
desperately.
game at a time.
Yes, definitely. But again, thank you all so very much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel here if you're not subscribed. We're really trying to grow this channel. Only takes a second. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Don't miss my post game live stream on As It Stands Lakers. That'll be after the game, as always. And thank you for all your questions. Thanks for hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate you, and we'll see you all.